this video, we are going to learn about thermodynamic variables or thermodynamic properties. All the observable properties of a thermodynamic system like the pressure, the volume, temperature, etc. can be divided into two types. One is the intensive variables and the second one is the extensive properties or extensive variables. So let us first see what is meant by the intensive property or the intensive variables. Now as you can see here, we have shown color, order, luster, etc. as the intensive property of the matter. For example, if you take example of a metal, then its luster or shining, will it depend on the size of the matter? No, it doesn't depend on the size. The malleability, the ductility, all these properties also doesn't depend on the size of the metal which is considered. Then if you take about the density of any substance, the density is constant for a given substance. In the same way, the melting point and the boiling point of a given liquid will also not depend on the size of the liquid which is under consideration. The specific heat, the color, the pressure, all these quantities, they will not depend on the size of a particular system or particular substance which is under study. So these properties, they are called as the intensive properties. So thus we can say that an intensive variable of a system, that is a macroscopic parameter which describes the system in equilibrium and which have the same value. So we should remember that they have the same value for any part of the system. Thus we can define this intensive properties of variables as those properties which do not depend on the size or quantity of the matter present. So they are independent of size. So it means that these are independent of the size of the matter present. So you can relate this in which is written here with the in which is written in the intensive property, and remember what is meant by the intensive variable or the intensive property. The examples are temperature, pressure and density, etc. Now what are the extensive properties? As you can see here, the volume, the mass, size, weight, length, all these are the changing properties which depends on the size of the matter. So an extensive variable of a system, it is a macroscopic parameter which describes the system in equilibrium and which has a value equal to sum of its values in each part. So if you divide a system into different parts like this and take its values as x1, x2, x3, then the total will be the addition of all these three. So x1 plus x2 plus x3. So these are the extensive properties. So we can define the extensive properties is a property whose value depends on the quantity or the size of the matter present in the system. So you can now remember that mass, volume, internal energy, enthalpy, etc. These are the extensive properties of a thermodynamic system. So we can again revise the terms as extensive means the properties which depends on the amount of matter present or they depend on the size, and intensive does not depend on the amount of matter present, that is does not depend on the size. The example is color, smell, ductility, malleability, which we have seen here, and here the examples are size, mass, length, etc. Both these properties, they are used to describe the matter and they all are observable properties, or they can be changed, measured without changing the identity of the substance. So this is all about intensive and extensive properties of a thermodynamic system. Now we will see what is meant by thermodynamic equilibrium. Now for any thermodynamic system to be in equilibrium, there are certain conditions. So which are those? First we will see that what is meant by thermal equilibrium. So thermal equilibrium will be attained by a system when the temperature is same. So what does it mean by the same temperature? So suppose you take two bodies, like a hot body here and a cold body here, then we find that the heat flows from the hot body to the cold body. and here we have a body or a system which is at 0 degree Celsius, and here is at 100 degree Celsius. If you combine or keep in touch with each other, then we find that after some time both the bodies will attain a similar temperature. It means that they are now in thermal equilibrium. So this is meant by thermal equilibrium. The second type of equilibrium that can be attained is the mechanical equilibrium. So if a system is in mechanical equilibrium, it means that the pressure remains constant throughout in a system. And the third type is the chemical equilibrium. So the system will be in chemical equilibrium if the concentration is uniform. It is uniform concentration and there is no mass transfer or diffusion. We have seen about diffusion in our earlier lectures, and we have also seen how the mass is transferred in case of gaseous system. So now we have seen three types. One is the thermal equilibrium, the second one was the mechanical equilibrium, and the third is the chemical equilibrium. So now we can define this thermodynamic equilibrium as a system. We'll say that a system which is simultaneously in thermal, mechanical and chemical equilibrium, then it is said to be in thermodynamic equilibrium. So we need to obtain all these three types of equilibriums for the system to be in completely thermodynamic equilibrium. Now we can move on to the next topic, which is about the thermodynamic processes. Now what are the thermodynamic processes? For that we will see first what is meant by a process. You all know what is a process. A process is any change that a system undergoes from one equilibrium state to another equilibrium state. Just now we have seen that any system tries to achieve equilibrium. So whatever is the steps or the series of steps through which it goes to from one state to another state, then that will be called as the process or the path of the process. Now there are different types of processes in case of a thermodynamic system. So which are those processes? The first one that we are going to see is the reversible process. Now what is a reversible process? A reversible process is said to be reversible if the system and its surroundings, which can be restored back to their initial states by reversing the direction of the process. Now what does it mean? So suppose you have a system which is going from this state A to the state B through this path, then and after some time, if you are able to reverse it back or bring it back to the initial state A by following the same backward process, then this will be called as a reversible process. Now let us see an example of this. If you take a candy and heat it, you'll find that it gets converted into a liquid here, and if you freeze this back, you can convert it into this candy again. So this is a reversible change or reversible process. Now what is meant by an irreversible change? An irreversible change or a process is a process that cannot be reversed. Like most natural processes we have seen, they are irreversible. Can take an example of this egg. If here we are seeing that the egg is getting converted into omelette when you heat it, but it cannot be brought back to the original state of egg. In the same way, you can see here that this system, if it is going from 1 to 2 state and it cannot be reversed back, then this will be irreversible system. And if we can bring it back from 2 to 1, then it can be said to be a reversible system. So all the natural processes are generally irreversible processes. Another process that we will see is isobaric process. Now this word baric indicates constant pressure. So all the processes which are carried out at constant pressure will be called as the isobaric process. Then we have isochoric process. Isochoric process are the processes which are carried out at constant volume. The word choric here relates to volume here. Then the next is isothermal. Isothermal processes are all those processes that are carried out at constant temperature. So these are the isothermal processes. Now we'll see adiabatic process all the processes in which there is neither entry of heat into a system nor release of heat out of the system, such that the total exchange of heat is zero, then that will be called as the adiabatic process. Now we will see what is a cyclic process. A cyclic process is a process where initial state is equal to the final state. So we say that a system is said to have undergone a cycle if it returns back to its original or initial state. So what is that? Let us see. Now in this case, as you can see, the system is going from A to B through this path, and it is then after some time it is brought back to the initial state A1 through the path B. Then this type of process will be called as a cyclic process. Now we'll see the next one, and that is quasi-static process. When a process goes in a such a way that the system remains infinitesimally close to an equilibrium state, it means that it is moving so slowly, we can say that it seems to be at equilibrium state at all times, then it is called as a quasi-static or an quasi-equilibrium process. So we can show it in this way. So here is the initial state and this is the final state, and when it is moving from initial state to the final state, we find that at all particular steps this system is in equilibrium state. So this type of process will be called as the quasi-static process. So in this way we have seen different processes of a thermodynamic system.